Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining of Two Mindsets. I am Dee Hill, and here along with me today is my partner in crime, Mr. RJ. RJ, how you feeling today?
Feeling good, feeling great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Glad to be in my own home and not out in the streets in the cold like we were earlier this week. It's the last week, excuse me, the last Saturday of January, this week, this month. Was felt long, but it's flown by. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
It's a lot of stuff happened, and a lot of things happened that were not fun. For instance, having to have a job. I used to work from home back in the day, but now I have a job where I have to travel and to get there. And on Tuesday, on the way home, we ran into the snow. And as most people know nowadays, the Atlanta area and perhaps Georgia in general is not good at handling snow days. I think you're very fortunate. If I'm not mistaken, you get to work from home, right?
yeah. Most days, definitely, it's a blessing to be able to work from home. And to your point about Atlanta and the snow days, not only did it affect jobs, it also, as far as the schools basically, just a little bit of snow, they're going to close the school, and that's kind of what happened. Basically Tuesday through Thursday, all the schools were basically shut down. Um,
Right.
because of the 1 inch of snow that we had. Yeah.
Yeah, and being from the north, I know that you find it to be a bit inconveniencing because you're used to business continuing as normal, even if there's a lot more snow than what we've got here. Um,
Right.
on the way home, I saw multiple accidents of people having run off the road. Um, as I got closer to my home, I started running to areas that were slippery. The ice had accumulated, and it got a little scary. So I thought I was being smart and got off the expressway onto a side road, hoping I could catch the access roads. The access roads, of course, there's fewer cars, clearing the way. So there, it was a lot worse, and I did a little tail, a little, I guess, dovetail, you would call it. So I turned around, got back on the expressway, and the trip that usually takes me 30 minutes ended up taking about an hour and 20 something minutes. And I was afraid that I was going to be stranded on the expressway,
Mm,
much like um, uh, the Snowmageddon
yeah.
thing happened. Let me ask you
Wow.
this.
Yes.
What year was Atlanta's Snowmageddon?
That was 2000. Was it 2017?
I looked it up and I also thought it was as recent as that. And maybe my search is wrong, but it says it was 2014
Okay, 2014. That's probably correct.
because you were
Um,
out there then, right?
yes. Yeah. You know what? You're right because I had to think about how old my kids are. So yeah, 2014 is actually right.
But it feels like it was so much more recent than that. Now I was shocked that it's been like 11 years now, but it seems
Yeah.
like yesterday. You care to recall what happened with you
Oh
during
man.
Snowmageddon?
Oh, I mean, I got a great story. I mean, it was
Let's
a
hear it,
fantastic story.
man.
So I was working out in uh Alpharetta, um, which it's kind of a drive for me. Normally it takes about maybe an hour from Alpharetta to Stone Mountain. Would you see it where I'm up here at lovely Stone Mountain right now.
Very
It's
nice, very
a
nice.
little
I'm
chilly. That's why I
surprised
got
it's
my
not more windy out there.
yeah, I got my jacket on. You can't see the snow covered mountain, but it's there. Trust me. So back in 2014, uh, basically, as you mentioned, Georgia does not have snow plows. We don't have we have minimal as far as preparation as far as snow is concerned. So morning, my boss comes to me. She's like, "Well, Ryan, we're all leaving now. It's like 9 o'clock, right? So it's like, yeah, the snows and the ice is going to come. We're going to leave. I think you should leave too." I said, "Oh, okay, great." So I know because I'm from the north. I'm like,
Right,
okay,
right.
I'll be fine. So I take an extra hour. I go to the mall afterwards. I'm like, oh, this is great. Nobody's at the mall. I'm walking around. I
Oh
bought a
man.
pair of jeans.
Right, right.
So 2 o'clock comes. I decide, okay, I've had enough fun. I'm going to go home. So
Right.
when I get to 400 is slammed. It's like it took me 20 minutes to get from the mall, which is really right next to the highway. It took me 20 minutes just to
Right.
get to the highway. And once I got on 400, it was basically not moving from 2 o'clock to, I mean, it took me 8 hours to get from Milton, Georgia, all the way to 285.
And how long of a trip does that usually take without the issue?
It's 30 minutes,
That's
maybe
crazy.
at the most. So, so once I got to 285, it was very treacherous. I mean, there was so many accidents, so much sliding. The ice was terrible. It was a very traumatic experience.
Right.
The most traumatic experience I've ever had driving in my life. I mean, I'm not, I can't overstate that. So I finally make it to 285, and I think
Hmm.
I'm home free. There's nobody else on, nobody else is moving at this point on 285. It's like there's very few cars moving. A lot of cars have died. A lot of people have just abandoned their cars because they're afraid to drive in the ice. So I finally make it to 285, and I think I'm going, and then the truck just decides it's had enough, which
Oh man.
it's
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah.
I've been going for basically 10 hours of the day,
Right. Right.
and and the truck died on 285, so I had to get out of the car.
And it was a nice
Uh,
truck.
oh, it
When
was
you
a
say
beautiful.
it died, what was it? The battery that overheated, or do you recall
Um, everything. It's like the
everything?
the battery, the the engine. It was cooked. I mean,
I
I had to get.
got you. Yeah.
It cost so much to repair. I ended up buying a new car. I
Right.
mean
Right.
that was the result of Snowmageddon.
Wow.
So I get to 285. Like I said, the car died. But it was a really, I don't know how to describe it, but the night was really crazy. So there were actual people like Good Samaritans out there. This is around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
They're actually walking up and down the highway, handing out water, giving out blankets to people that they know that are stranded.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was something to behold.
So what? They were coming from their nearby homes, or where
I
were
don't,
these
I don't
people
know
coming
where
from?
they're I don't know where they're coming from, man. To be
They
honest
were
with you,
angels,
they were angels. Seriously,
blanket angels.
blanket angels, blanket and water angels. Yeah.
Wow.
So so I was like, we were talking. She said there's a hotel Holiday Inn up, about a mile up. So
Right.
I'm dressed up. This is back in the day when you had to go to work every day, and people weren't wearing jeans to work like they do now. If you were you were going in the office, you were kind of dressing up. So
You
I'm
had to
wearing
dress a
shoes
little.
and,
Yeah.
yeah, dress pants. So I'm walking out there in this snow and ice and slipping and sliding and dress pants and dress shoes, and I finally make it to the Holiday Inn. And of course, they didn't have any rooms at that time, but they were
Right.
so kind just to let people sleep in the lobby because they had a really big lobby with couches, and so they brought out cots and everything. It was
Mm.
it was crazy, man. But it was definitely an experience. But
Wow.
thankfully, just nothing like that now.
Yeah. Well,
in this in this day
go
of work
ahead.
from in this day of work from home, which I had to think to myself, what if we didn't have this work from home thing? What would
Right.
what would the state of Georgia be doing then? Because I don't. So did you have to go to work on Wednesday and Thursday, or what?
You're talking about this week.
This
So
week? Yeah.
I was there when the snow started, which was Tuesday, but I
Right.
did not go in on Wednesday, and things were clear enough on Thursday that I did go in. And it's
Okay.
funny how, when in 2014 I was working from home and you were going to the office, and now it's the reverse.
Right.
Funny how things change. But yeah, like I said, on that Tuesday coming back, I was afraid that it was going to be a repeat of Snowmageddon, but fortunately, I was able to make it home. As I said, I saw several accidents outside of my complex where I live. I heard that there was like a 7 car pileup, which is crazy, but there's a curve right out there and there was an ice patch. So apparently, people were trying to get where they were going and weren't making it. I had a friend who had to abandon her car after work that Tuesday because she ran off the road. And there were a lot of stories of that happening, and it's unfortunate. Um, it's really sad, and just coincidentally, going back to Snowmageddon of 2014, two of the people who we've interviewed on the show were also stuck out there. Our friend
Mm.
Desi, who I think that she had to spend several hours in her car on the expressway, and Victor Shumate, he was worked at a school and had to spend the night in a gym, and there were kids had to spend the night, teachers and everybody. So there was a lot of that going on. So it's
Hmm.
crazy that it's still 11 years later, things have not much improved. Another inch or two of snow, and we might have
Right.
saw similar issues. I mean, it was pretty bad for some people this time still. So,
Right.
uh, you know, I was talking to someone and they said that Georgia doesn't know how to handle the snow. I don't think that's it. It's
No, they
they're
don't
not
want to.
putting exactly. They're not putting the money and the people where they need to be to take care of these issues.
Right.
That's my understanding of it anyway. Because um, it's
Because
not a
you think about it, they knew about this in advance. I mean, they knew
right.
the precise time the snow was going to. I mean, they
Yeah,
knew exactly what hour it was going to hit, and it hit
exactly.
on that hour. So
It
come
definitely
on,
did.
they could have. I understand it costs funds. You have to allocate money to that, but they could have done something. It's just you
Yeah,
know,
I mean, how much could it possibly cost to salt a few more roads and
right,
block off some streets, stop people from going in certain areas, and
right,
you know, and enforce some. I think the governor did declare a emergency, state of an emergency, or something to that effect. And
right.
I don't know if state workers were off those days, but still, even more than that should have been done.
No, they were not off those days.
Mm,
I I I have a relative who's a state worker, and they weren't off those days.
right, right.
Leave it at that.
Are
Yes.
they in the Atlanta area?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah,
Had to go into work on well, like I said, Wednesday everybody was off on Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday,
gotcha.
yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Well, fortunately, the snow has